Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you a really easy meatball treat that you can make for your dog using some ground turkey, handful of vegetables, and what I have here is some oat flour that I just ground up myself with some whole rolled oats in my food processor here. You could do it in a blender and just pulse it for less than a minute and then you get this nice flour. You can also, if you choose to give your dog wheat flour or another type of flour, that's fine. But for this recipe and a lot of my other treat recipes, I really like to use oat flour because oat flour packs, because of the oats, it just has a lot of other great nutritional benefits, and I'm always trying to add in as many nutrients as I can in the food that I feed my dog. So here we go. I've got a pound, like I said, 1 pound of ground turkey here. You could always sub ground chicken, even ground beef if that's something that you wanted to do. But I really like turkey. It's a leaner meat and it's pretty affordable as well. So one of my favorite things to do with my veggies, now here I just have a handful of mixed greens that are just kind of left over from what was in the container of organic greens that I buy for our family. You can do spinach, you can do broccoli. If you have any other veggie that you like to give to your dog, just grab a handful of it, fresh or frozen, and then you're gonna either wanna finely chop it, like really finely chop in itty bitty bits, or you can do my favorite method, and that's to blend it. And this little gadget here is my KitchenAid hand mixer. I use this all the time, or hand blender. I use it all the time, and this is actually one of my most favorite ways to use it. And that's to blend the veggies for Macy's recipes and things. Because dogs are always gonna absorb vegetables in some type of pre-processed chopped or blended form. It's harder for them to get all the nutrients when it's in a whole form. So for this recipe, before I add the veggies to my meat mixture, I'm gonna blend it very quickly here with this hand mixer, and it's gonna condense it down very nicely and make it really easy to blend, very blendable. So I'm gonna do that quickly now. And as you can see, it quickly breaks down and it's very nicely, which I love. And if you didn't know, roughly 1 handful of any kind of leafy green is gonna end up being about a cup. So that's kind of my way of always measuring. I'm gonna shake it out. See all that? It's kind of like, yeah, just really finely chopped. And as you kind of sort through, you can see there's some bigger leaves still in there, and then you're just gonna wanna hone in on those, and then you're done. Like so. So this is pretty perfect for me. So that's it. So I'm done with my little hand blender, my mixer. And as you can see, you know, that big handful of greens that was kind of filling half the bowl has now condensed nicely down into this really pretty mixture. I mean, that's probably like maybe a tablespoon and a half, something like that. But anyway, so that's what you're gonna wanna do for your veggies. Now, if you're not using mixed greens, like I said, you can sub just about any other veggie that your dog tolerates well or that you like to give to your dog. And just make sure it's kind of either mashed or blended down really nicely. Now here I have just a little bit, it was a really small leftover cooked potato that we had. So I'm gonna use that today. I don't usually do potato or russet potato, but since I have it, I'm gonna use it. You can also sub if you like to use sweet potato. Sweet potato is fantastic. You could also sub in maybe some pumpkin, butternut squash. I mean, really the sky's the limit. What you're wanting to do here is just kind of create your vegetable mixture. So that's what I've got here in this bowl. So now I'm just kind of blending in my green veggies, and I do like to try to use a lot of leafy greens because again, they do add a lot of really great nutrients in addition to the oats that we're going to use for the meatballs. So as you can see here, isn't that pretty? So I've got my potato, and my potato obviously, I mean, you could see it was chopped up. Again, you want everything kind of chopped up blend it up really fine so that everything kind of mixes really nicely. And so that's what I have here. So isn't that pretty? So the next thing I like to do is I do a lot of herbs. I mean, Macy has been getting, I've always given my dogs different types of fresh or dried herbs. Parsley is what I have here. I'm just gonna kind of add a little bit of that in there. If you have fresh, you can do that as well. That's excellent. Always do your own research and start your dog, you know, small and easy if they haven't had a lot of herbs before, and just kind of see what they like. This is rosemary I'm adding. So I've done parsley. I just did rosemary, and then this is just a little bit of oregano. And like I said, if you've got fresh, go for fresh. But if you don't, that's fine. Use what you have on hand. And then obviously if your dog hasn't been exposed to a lot of herbs and seasonings, dog-friendly herbs and seasonings, you can totally just skip that step. You don't have to do it. The cool thing about a lot of these recipes that I like to show you guys is that they're really easily adaptable to whatever you may have on hand in your kitchen, whatever your dog will tolerate. I mean, it's really very flexible and very easy. So now that I've got my vegetables and my herb mixture here, I'm gonna just add it right into my bowl of the ground meat. And this is just the way I do it. You could do it differently. Just kind of toss everything in one bowl to start. That's totally fine because it's all just gonna get mixed together anyway. So again, always do, you know, your method and what works for you. So now I've got my meat and veggie mixture, and then all I'm gonna do now is get that pretty well blended before I add my oat flour. And again, the oat flour, it's not fancy at all. It's literally just whole rolled oats blended up. So like I said earlier, I use my food processor. It would work well with a blender as well, or whatever kitchen gadget you have on hand that can kind of grind things down to a powder, and you just pulse it pretty quickly, and it's done, and it's nice healthy flour, or it creates a flour-like substance that you can use. So here we go. So now my meat and veggies are blended. This is when I'm now going to take my flour, and I think this is just a cup. Yeah, I start with a cup, and then depending on how wet my mixture is, I sometimes will, like you see here, I've got some extra oat flour set aside. If it's too wet for my liking, I will just sprinkle in a little bit more, you know, just like I said, depending on the moisture of or how moist your mixture is. And again, depending on what vegetable you try to use, you choose to use. Like if I did mixed greens, which isn't super wet, but like say you did pumpkin, or maybe sweet potato, that's gonna have, it's softer, it's gonna have a little bit more moisture or higher moisture content. So that may change, that's going to change the texture or how moist your mixture is. So this again is my 1 cup of oat flour, and it's actually looking pretty darn good to me. This is kind of how I like mine to look. Not too wet, not too dry. But there's one more step I'm going to do. And again, this is just something I like to do because, again, I'm always trying to add in as many great, healthy, nutritional components as I can. And so I like to always add in about a tablespoon of some kind of healthy oil. So you have a nice healthy fat going into your mixture, and this is just a tablespoon. So all the time I'll use olive oil, avocado oil, even grapeseed oil, whatever I have on hand. We use a lot of different oils in our house, usually whatever is on sale that week or whichever, based on what we're planning to cook. You can even do coconut oil, that would work well as well. So just kind of decide for yourself, and then that also will kind of help bind it a little bit. So I'm just kind of blending this in. And that's it. And so, I'm talking minutes. And you got this beautiful whole food, real ingredients that you can see with your own eyes, know where it came from for your dog. It doesn't get any easier than this. You're going to want to have your oven set to about 400 degrees. And then these cook in like 15, 16 minutes. Your cook time will depend on how big you want to make your meatballs. I have a large breed dog, so I make them, a decent size, kind of average meatball size. But if you have a little dog or you're wanting to make these for like training, treats for training and things like that. You can make them smaller to your liking, just your cook time. Just keep an eye on it, because if you make them really small, they're going to probably cook faster. So again, your oven's at 400, and then you're just going to roll it and get it going. So I have my baking pan here already. Sheet of parchment paper. Parchment paper is a game changer. It's going to keep your cleanup to a minimum, and it keeps pretty much just about anything from sticking to your baking pans. But I also will almost always add this extra step, and you do not have to do this. I just like to drizzle just a little bit, just a few little drops onto the sheet of my healthy oil. Just a little bit. I'm gonna do a little bit more. And the reason why I like to do that is because it really assures that nothing's gonna stick, but also as I go to, if it's something I'm gonna be, using my hands to form, like today with these meatballs, it's gonna ensure that nothing's gonna stick to your hands too much. Normally I wear gloves. I'm really funny about raw meat, but for y'all today, I'm gonna just go for it. And then I've got my wipes over here. But anyway, I'm just gonna do a few to show you how easy this is. Roll it and stick it on the pan, and that's literally it. So grab a bunch, roll it, stick it on a pan. If you have one of those fancy like mini ice cream scoopers, that probably would, or like maybe even a melon scooper. I haven't tried that, but I bet that would work really well too if you don't want to have your hands, all up in the meat. But this is what cooks do, right? So here we go. So that's about 4 meatballs I've done so far. With the pound of meat, with the meatballs about this size, I typically will fill the entire pan. So you can have anywhere from 25 to 30 plus or more of these delicious healthy meatballs. Again, depending on the size that you use. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, like when you go down the treat aisle at the grocery store, they sell meatball treats and things like that for dogs, of course. But if you flip that package over, I mean, you're seeing like 100 different ingredients, and 90% of them you can't pronounce, which means they're usually not great. They're highly processed. They're full of other, byproducts and fillers and things like that. So if you can take a recipe like I'm showing you here now, adapt it for your needs and your liking, for your dog, you are way ahead of the game. You're giving your dog real food, a lot of nutritional value, and it's for a fraction of the cost. I mean, this whole recipe guarantees probably under $5. In the ground turkey, you can probably get a pound for about $4. And if you catch a sale, it's gonna be even cheaper. So I'm gonna maybe roll one more, and then I have a batch that's in the oven now that's finished just before I started filming, so I can hopefully show y'all what the finished product looks like. But as you can see, and these are a pretty good size, so, and then they don't spread, so you can actually really pack these in on your baking sheet and really get a lot of treats done in a minimal amount of time. And like I said, these are gonna bake for average size meatballs. You're gonna bake them for about 15 to 16 minutes at 400 degrees. But again, if they're smaller, make sure that you're adjusting your times. So I'm just wiping my hands. I'm gonna clear off a space here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the ones that I've already baked, just so you guys can see. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, these look amazing. Now these are still really, really hot. But can you see that? I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but like when you're making something for your dog or your family, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's just such a satisfying feeling, that's like, wow, I made this. Look, beautiful. Yeah, these are pretty warm. I'm trying to burn myself. So this is kind of the larger size, and then I made a row of some of the smaller ones just so you guys could see. And they're beautifully formed. And this is just your ground turkey, the oat flour that I made myself, ground up whole oats, and then a handful of veggies and a few herbs. So again, this is really adaptable. You can make this just about 100 different ways. Once these are cool, like I said, these are pretty warm right now. Once these are cool, you want a nice, take them off the hot pan, put them on a plate, or a rack and just let them cool fully, and then throw these bad boys in a Ziploc bag. They will keep in your fridge for several days, and whenever you want to toss your dog a super healthy treat or really motivate them to do something you need them to do, I mean, it doesn't get better than this. I have not met a dog that doesn't like these. Supplement them as for a meal, throw it with some sardines, some egg yolks, or something else you've got going on, or again, just keep it as a treat. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope you find as much joy in cooking and making special treats for your dog as I do. But please come back again, check out another video. Thanks, guys.